Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are now watching Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your host, Niko House. I want to urge you all to just, if you're watching right now, go ahead and press subscribe. And the reason why is because the news that you're about to get and the news in the subsequent months that is about to come alive is not going to be subjective. As most of you all know, I am neither left nor right. I am not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. But I am a person who likes to hold any and everybody in power or who has a position of influence accountable. Donald Trump is not immune to that, no more than Hillary Clinton is. But what we have witnessed, or what we are witnessing, unfold right in front of us right now, has not been discussed by CNN, has not even been discussed by Fox News, has gone unnoticed by the majority of even independent media. This is absolutely probably the biggest story of the year thus far, for several reasons, but no one at all has talked about this. Remember about 3 to 4 months ago, people, if you had been following my channel, seen my video, I did a pretty extensive video on why it was such a big deal that Henry Kissinger met up with Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton and Henry Kissinger were like best friends. Actually, Hillary Clinton called Henry Kissinger like her idol, her mentor. This man lives and breathes perpetual warfare. And I said a very long time ago, if you are a Trump fan, you need to be worried. If you are a progressive, you need to be worried. If you are anyone other than a neoliberal, neoconservative establishment hack, you need to be worried. Because Henry Kissinger made it very, very clear as to why he was meeting up with Donald Trump. And that reason was to establish a new world order. Many people may think that's an exaggeration, but it is not actually. He said this on a video. Was not very shy about it either. And I said from that moment forward, I was going to have to pay close attention to Trump's foreign policy, because I think that from that moment forward, he was no longer in control. And what was announced by Rex Tillerson the other day, a couple of days ago, is just indicative of what I predicted about 3 to 4 months ago. That foreign policy, unfortunately, was going to be business as usual, and the deep state was eventually, because of all the negatives that Trump has in his personal life and because of his self-interest in maintaining his brand and his business for the future of his family, that the deep state would eventually overrun him. And it has. Rex Tillerson announced the other day that we will be sending troops back into Syria indefinitely. Do you know what the excuse is? Oh, we don't want ISIS to come back like they did in Iraq. Yeah, you left Iraq with half of a government, pretty much no infrastructure left, with a vacuum of power that never got filled. Mind you, we shouldn't have been in Iraq to begin with. So the fact that he is actually using Iraq as the reason as to why we shouldn't have been in Syria to begin with. They say we're going back to fight ISIS. We didn't do anything to ISIS while we were there, people. I don't know if you've caught on to that yet. We left one of the few good things that Trump has done foreign policy-wise and policy-wise in general. We left Syria, and then all of a sudden ISIS militaristically was just gone. Russia was doing a better job fighting ISIS than we were, if you want to be quite frank. The people of Assad supported him about 70%. So he tried to say that, oh, we don't want another situation like Iraq where ISIS will take hold again. But Russia is still there. Assad's forces are still there, and they were doing a great job until the U.S. started kind of sliding weapons that accidentally got into ISIS's hands. We were kind of deterring every effort that Russia and Assad were doing to take care of ISIS. And weirdly enough, I want you all to think about this, because conservatives, this is for y'all. You know, I do a lot of videos, not even all conservatives, but Trump conservatives. I need you all to understand something. Anyone who thinks that Obama was just going to go in there with the damn a warhead and just nuke ISIS, understand that once we pulled out of Syria, ISIS disappeared. If you have not caught on to it yet, we are the ones who fund terrorism in the Middle East. It's simple as that. But Tillerson does do us a favor. He makes it pretty damn clear exactly why he really wants us in Syria. He says that we absolutely have to do a regime change of the Syrian government. He wants Assad out of power, back to square one. The real reason ISIS was randomly put in Syria. The real reason that ISIS disappeared after we left. You want to understand how this Syria situation is going to go? Think about how we went to Iraq the first time. Nothing happened. We didn't get the job done, as in the job was to dethrone Saddam Hussein. We didn't get the job done. What did we do, people? We went back to make sure it got done right this time. Another example. I don't know if you all know this, but special forces were frequently in Libya in the late 80s and the early 90s. They frequented Libya. Oh man, like if you've ever lived in a military base that has special forces, you'll see a lot of them would either be retired or sergeant majors right now. You would see them with a bunch of Libyan decoratives and artwork hanging up because of their tenure in Libya. We did not get the job done once again the first time. And once again, we went back. Now they like to claim it was because they want to claim it was because Gaddafi was just so evil that nobody wanted him there. I'm not saying Gaddafi was a saint, but that's not what it is. Has nothing to do with that, people. They want to say it was simply to keep Gaddafi out of power, because it wasn't that either. It wasn't just to get Gaddafi out of power. We had to make sure that we replaced him with somebody that we could trust, but at the same time, keep the region destabilized. Because what many people do not know is that the African Union and Gaddafi reached an agreement where Gaddafi would actually step down to make sure that the West had absolutely no reason to be in that region. And even after that agreement, the United Nations and the EU were both made aware of it. However, Gaddafi was still taken out by the United States, despite the fact that he said that he would step down. This isn't about ISIS. They try to say, oh, we have to also make sure that Iran doesn't gain control in the region. Iran is not trying to go into Syria to overthrow Assad. They try to use Israel as the reason that we have to worry about Iran. Iran is not going to destroy Israel. It's a lie. If they want to, if the Arab countries and the Dead Sea countries in that region wanted to destroy Israel, it would have been done by now. Israel's this big. The false fear-mongering allegations that somehow all of those Arab nations want to destroy Israel. Like what? If they legitimately wanted to destroy Israel, what do you think would stop them? What, the United States? We're already invading half of their nations. We've already choked out Iran economically, and now Tillerson has the EU and the US refusing to help rebuild much of the land that we destroyed by trying to dethrone Assad. Then he also urged everybody to wage economic warfare on Syria. Now, for those of you who haven't kept up with the Iran conflict, when you wage economic war on a particular nation, what happens? The people suffer. It happened in Iran. It happened in Iraq. It happened in Cuba. It's going to happen in Syria. Then Assad will be to blame. That is why they're doing economic warfare, because they want Assad to take the blame. They want him to be unpopular so there can be an insurgency and a coup planned from people within his regime, the people who previously liked him but will no longer like him because their families are dying. We are a terrorist nation. We are criminal people. This is nuts. How this isn't all over the news is it's insane. This is what the shutdown. This is what the shutdown was about. It was to distract the world from Rex Tillerson making the announcement that should have rippled across every country with a conscience. With every person who is paying attention and cares about their fellow man, their fellow woman. We are committing war crimes. We are. Trump has failed you all in foreign policy. Period. Point blank. You thought he was going to, actually, not even just you. I'm not going to say it was just you, because I thought that he would be a little different from Hillary Clinton. And for a second he was. Then he sat down with Henry Kissinger, out the window. Not only are we going to have troops in Iran, but they can't even come up with a reason for us to keep them there, other than we don't want another ISIS situation to happen. I guess, I don't know. They don't even come up with good reasons anymore. They're trying to claim that Assad used chemical weapons on his people. That's been proven false. Somebody won a Pulitzer Prize for proving it's false. Seymour Hersh won a Pulitzer Prize for this. And you are still continuing to lie and use that as a justification for getting rid of Assad. Or he attacked his own people. If he attacked his own people, why do so many people support him in the region? Think about it. Supposedly ISIS was there fighting against Assad's regime. The United States were there trying to dethrone Assad. Al-Qaeda has been there, but they've tried to deny that Al-Qaeda was there. But Al-Qaeda was there. We were feeding them weapons. That's why they were denying that, by the way. So you got them being attacked from all sides, and supposedly Assad is also attacking his own people. So that would mean his approval ratings would be low and he would be easy to dethrone because he's getting attacked from all sides. But apparently that is not the case. Common sense would tell you. Absolutely no coverage. Trump has succumbed to the deep state, people. This shutdown was a distraction. And the Women's March yesterday, out of all the issues they talked about, I'm sure this didn't come up once. Why should you be scared? Because if a country, even the one you're living in, if they have the ability to violate sovereign borders, lie straight to your face, the media who has a responsibility to cover, they just said we're about to start war right now. Do you understand that? We just pretty much declared war, and nobody, not one, except for the Real News, which, by the way, shout out to those guys. But none of the mainstream media covered it. It's despicable. You should be absolutely infuriated, because I know I am. We need to put a highlight on the issues happening in Syria. We need to make sure that we are paying attention to foreign policy. We cannot keep staying in this dazed and confused state of being intrinsically focused, only focusing on what's happening in the United States, because a lot of the issues that happen in the United States are perpetuated by our foreign policy. A lot of the anti-Muslim sentiment, the need, the necessity for them to dehumanize Muslims in the eyes of Americans, it's so we can remain over there and be desensitized to the violence, the senseless and needless violence. I hope that you all will share this video. I hope that you all will subscribe. Like I said, you can ask anybody who, look at the comment section. I am neither a Democrat nor am I a Republican. I'm just someone who is extremely concerned about truth, and someone who will hold anyone who has any type of power, authority, or influence accountable when necessary. That includes your side. Thank you all so much for watching, and always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance. Peace.